And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective to current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truths centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, and so much more. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, Tampa Bay's #1 activist. We talk about being a community activist and a consumer activist because we want to help you live a better life. Now, anything on that financial wheel, we want you to think of this Real Estate Quarterback Show. You can reach out, no matter if you have $100,000 in debt or if you got $100,000 to invest. We've got all the best financial assets here to help you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of this show.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
So we got an all-star lineup here. We're going to have Dave Turner, Achieva Credit Union, in studio.
All right, thank you for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to be here so that we can talk about some things about why we want to be with a credit union, what a credit union does for the community, how we can help you out. Also talk about some of the financing that we can do for you, your auto, your unsecured, secured loans, whatever it is that we might be able to help you out with, and how we can be your advocate when you're going out and making those purchases.
Excellent. Yeah, and repeat offender, Mr. Sean Yesner in studio, back again.
Thank you for having me back. It's nice to be back. Good to see that I've earned my way back to the show again.
That's right. Bringing those nuggets of advice for our consumers out there. Real estate law, bankruptcy law, the best in the marketplace here in Tampa Bay. And as always, Jason Salmon, the Wolf.
Always great to be here. Today we have another edition of Ask the Real Estate Quarterback, as well as some other news in business and finance, so stay tuned.
Very excited to be getting record numbers hitting our website at realestateradiotampa.com. Anything you need on that financial wheel, we want you to pull out your smartphone, save this number in your phone, and program a favorite as realestateradiotampa.com, and save our consumer advocate hotline. Now, if you're not a texter, you can text this number or you can call it, and it's 813-917-1894. We want you to save that number.
Baby, don't forget my number.
And I don't care if you're climbing that corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We're here to help you win. We're going to go against a lot of the nonsense that you see in the mainstream media that want to talk about, all the different plane crashes or, things happening, negativity in the news. And we want to help you be a positive approach here, take a positive approach in Tampa Bay. So before we jump into this real estate roundtable discussion, I've got a couple of hot listings I want to touch on. We've got Zero Rowan Road in Newport Richey. This is a developer's dream here. It's $2.185 million for a great opportunity. And the Tampa Tarpon Springs Land Company is a subdivision, and it's just listed prime opportunity to develop this property at Zero Rowan Road in Newport Richey. Also have a nice hot listing here as well. It's just listed 1938 Barbara Avenue in Clearwater. This is a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath property, $169,000. And it's situated on a bluff here, so there's no worries of flooding, and a great starter home, family home here at 1938 Barbara Avenue in Clearwater, Florida. And we also have 219 18th Avenue in Indian Rocks Beach. This is a great opportunity to own a lovely townhome, 2 bedrooms, 2-bath. It says bring your boat here to this boater's paradise. It's a Key West style townhome. It's got a beautiful sun deck up top, a ability to moor up to a 65-foot vessel on the boat slip here. Beautiful opportunity. It's literally a 2-minute walk across the Gulf Boulevard there, and you're on the beach.
No shoes, no shirt, and no problem.
So if you're out there and you're thinking about possibly listing your home for sale, I want to warn you about Zillow and some of these automated valuation sites. The number one thing that you can do is understand what the value of your number one asset is, and that's most of the time it's your real estate holdings. So what we want to do, we're way different than Zillow in terms of coming up with the value. We're going to allow for the first 5 listeners who want to text in right now, we're going to give you a free comparable market analysis on your property. Basically the same thing. You pay $500 for an appraisal. We're going to give it to you for free, compliments of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. So pull out your smartphone, text value now to 813-917-1894. That's our consumer advocate hotline. Text value now for a free appraisal on your home. It's basically going to break down, hey, how many short sales are going on in your neighborhood, how many loan modifications, all the different data that you want to know if you're a homeowner out there. So reach out and engage us. We have a QAA formula here with this show. You're going to have questions as consumers out there. We're going to provide these answers, but most importantly, we want to give you these action items that can help you live a better life. So thanks for listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We greatly appreciate it. And let's go ahead and jump into this contact with Mr. Dave Turner, Achieva Credit Union. Tell us a little bit more about Achieva. And I love the aspect. And when we first started talking, I love the value proposition that you bring and how it's different, than the marketplace has.
Correct. It is different. And I have a background with banking as well. I worked for a large bank for over 9 years. Made the switch to the credit union myself after really investigating into it, seeing what the difference is. And I really want to advocate out there to everyone out there that the credit union is going to be able to help you any way that a bank can. The services you have at your bank, you can get those same things at the credit union. You have the same convenience and ability to access your funds at any time. We may not have as many branches as some of these bigger banks do out there, but we also have a partnership with the Publix Presto ATMs, so you can go to any one of those ATMs and access your funds at any time as well. So you actually have more locations you can go get your money than even those bigger banks do, because they don't have that same type of partnership.
And there's so much done online these days, you really don't actually need to go in for most of the stuff.
Correct. But when you do need to come in, we're going to be your partner for everything that you need to have done. And one way to make an example of that is our community involvement. We have things like our boxcar rally that we do every year, where we invite all of the schools in the area to build boxcars, come out, and we race down Cleveland Street up in Clearwater, go down that little hill that's right there by the office buildings for the city.
It sounds like fun.
It is. And all the money that we generate from that, we are going to reinvest back into the community. A lot of that goes to scholarships for students. High school students are going to go into college. This last year, we gave out 10 $1,000 scholarships and 2 more $2,500 scholarships to help these kids go out and get their education. And part of what they do in the program is it's their grades, how they did in school, what their community involvement was, and then an essay that they write in that's going to get them that scholarship. And the essay is how this is going to help them and their family and how they can give back to the community by receiving this as well. So that's just a part of what we do with the community. One of the big parts, though, with coming to us is we're always going to be your advocate. Our goal is that when you walk through the door, we can change your life. Yeah. And by doing that, what we mean is we can save you money. We can get you back on the road. If you've had some problems with your credit or something, maybe we can help you out, get that reestablished for you. We can be that partner for you. One of the examples I like to use is auto purchases. Okay. How many of us go out there to go buy an auto and just dread having to do that? Because you have to walk in, you're going to deal with the salesman. When you're done with the salesman, you're going to get the manager. When you're done with the manager, you get the finance guy.
Right.
They draw this out for hours at a time. We want to be your advocate through that process. So come see us before you go out there and start walking down that process.
Yep.
Let us pull the credit for you, let you know exactly what your credit score is, what interest rate you're going to be looking at, what some different terms are. Are you going to be better off paying this off in 36 months, or do we need to stretch this out to 66 or 60 months for you to put you in a better position to make sure you still have extra cash on the side every month to have your normal living?
For that emergency fund as well. You're
exactly.
You're not pulling all the cash out and putting it into an asset.
Yep, because when you walk in there, the car dealership wants to sell the car. Now, they're not going to look at what your extra funds are at the end of the month. They are going to see what car they can fit you in to make that best sell for them. Right. We want to make sure before you go there, you understand this is exactly what your payment's going to be, and here's what your disposable income is that you still have left to live off. Is that enough, or should we redo this loan and get you a different amount? And then you know exactly what you're going to be going out and looking for. And we want to make sure that we're that advocate for you so you never run into a problem where you go get a vehicle that 3 months later you find out you really can't afford with the other expenses that you have coming out of your account.
Yeah, that's a great word you use there, advocate, and that's what we're all about here. Real Estate Quarterback Show, consumer advocate. You're listening to Dave Turner on the Real Estate Quarterback Show, Achieva Credit Union, multiple locations throughout Tampa Bay. And and I love the community involvement. We saw the community come together strongly with our Children's Cancer Center, the Gelatin Plunge. We just assisted them, and I love how the Tampa Bay community really pulls together for these types of events and fundraising.
Yeah, and we do the same type of stuff. A lot of the fundraising we do, too, also goes to the All Children's Hospital. Just over the last few years, we've actually donated $79,000 back to All Children's. through some of our different events.
Nice.
I mentioned the Boxcar Rally, but we stretch all the way from Newport Richey down to Cape Coral. We have branches all through that area. So we hold the Boxcar Rallies up here. We run a 5K in Sarasota. We have what we call the Achieve Olympics, which is a day to just get your family together, come out to the park, have a bunch of fun little games and competitions where the community competes against each other. Great food, everything out there, just a great atmosphere to be around. But we take those funds and we just regenerate them back into the community to keep the community growing and going.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think that's a huge thing, especially for all the big banks out there who really don't care at all. I think it's really, really neat to see someone that's an integral part of the Tampa Bay community.
Yep, and we want to continue to be that part. And like I said, our goal is to change your life when you come in. And as a manager of the institution as well, I get to go out and be on advisory boards for different high schools, in different Chamber of Commerce boards, and be involved in that part and just really be tied into the network that we're helping.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Dave Turner, Achieve a Credit Union, more from our experts in studio. When we come back, we're also, Jason and I are going to jump into some really neat stories here. We've got 2.2 million boomerang home buyers that will re-enter the market in the next 5 years. Real estate discussion here based on Tampa Bay's market, all the Gulf Coast as well. Our listenership goes all the way down to Fort Myers, Naples, so shouts out to the guys down in Lee County, Hendry County, and some of those southern areas as well. We're a Tampa-based organization, but we love the reach that we have down there as well. And you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We're the good guys here in Tampa Bay. We've got a relationship out there with Warwick Dunn Charities.
Warwick Dunn spins to the 10. He's to the 5, 4, 2, touchdown.
And we want to be your number one consumer advocate. So reach out, realestateradio.tampa.com or 813-917-1894.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Platinum MVP Realty. I'm a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. Featured in Florida Realtor Magazine multiple times, Tampa Bay Times, Tribune, and others, Business Journal. And got a couple of hot listings here I want to touch on before we jump back into this great content. And also shouts out to Freedom Boat Club, the official recreation partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Great opportunity. It's a membership-based opportunity here to show up, take the boat out for the day, no cleanup, no insurance, no worries of ownership of the boat. You know, the two greatest days of a boater's life is the day you buy it and the day you sell it, they say. So Freedom Boat Club, say hello to Mike Craig. He's our account executive over there, and talk to him. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And I want to touch on a couple of hot listings here. I've got 5506 Beeman Dew Loop in Land O'Lakes. This is a $1.275 million gorgeous property. It's in Lake Thomas Point in Land O'Lakes. 4 bedrooms, 5 and 1/2 bath. Custom built high-end home on gorgeous Lake Thomas in a private gated community. Large ski lake and a great opportunity to own some waterfront property here in Tampa Bay and enjoy these beautiful outdoors. Great development opportunity here at 12203 Four Oaks Road in Tampa, Florida. This is in the Village West, but it's basically the corner of Gun Highway and Four Oaks right there in Tampa. Great opportunity to put a business there, maybe a commercial play, most likely a commercial play, I would say here. And Four Oaks Road in Tampa, $325,000. I think it's a great price on that property. And Merlin Drive, Zero Merlin Drive here in Newport Richey. This is in Hidden Lake. It's build your own dream home and an airplane hangar on this beautiful wooded lot. And it's a large lot. It's 1 to 2 acres and single family use here. Shouts out to Captain Will Smith. It's one of these fly-in communities, and he's teaching me how to fly, getting my pilot license with Captain Will Smith. He's another partner of the show, Tampa Executive Flight Center and Vision Aviation. And real excited about this property, this opportunity here. It's only $99,000. Actually, I think we reduced it down to $89 since I printed this out. But, yeah, let's jump back into this great content. We got an all-star lineup, got some intelligent folks here in studio, real estate roundtable discussion. And I asked William Crawley to call in. He's our credit expert, the credit magician, calling in and give us an update on all things credit, credit improvement, identity theft prevention. What say you, William?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? Listen up. There's a lot of problems going on around the country with people that the identity being stolen and misuse of their identity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing I found is we as consumers, I hate to use that word consumer, but for lack of a better phrase, we as consumers have to understand that we have to be proactive in a certain sense as well. Everybody, whether you have good credit or bad credit, should have a promotional block on their phone number. Promotional block on their Social Security number. The credit reporting agencies allow this, offer this, but they don't really promote it. So I'm one of the ones that, as your consumer advocate, I do promote this. I'm going to give you this number right out over the air right now for those of you who are listening. And then we also have a special promo that Brandon, you'll be talking about that later.
Yep.
The phone number is 888-567-8688. 888-567-8688. The biggest perpetrator to me of identity theft is the credit reporting agencies themselves. Everybody, put a promotion block on your credit report. Try to do it either indefinitely or for 5 years, whichever it allows when you call in. But be sure to call and spread the word to family, friends, co-workers, etc. Everybody should have a promotion block on their Social Security number. That's one of the most advantageous things you can do in being able to prevent your information from being stolen or misused out there.
Yeah,
with the promotional block.
Yeah, it's definitely an area we need to be proactive in. You know, we just in the last year and a half, we saw J.P. Morgan, Target, Home Depot, P.F. Chang's, even the United States government have data breaches. And there, there's no credit police, and we weren't taught it in school. And so if you want to reach out and get a free credit package from William Crawley, aka the Credit Magician, all you have to do is text the word credit, and I'm going to tell you what we're going to do for you. We're going to teach you how to opt out of pre-screening, cut off all that junk mail that comes to your mailbox and increases your chances of identity theft. And we're also going to give you a free consult, sit down. He's going to teach you how to obtain your free credit report as well. So all you have to do is text for that credit package, text the word credit to our Consumer Advocate hotline at 813-917-1894. Text credit now for the first 5 listeners to 917 $18.94, and we've got a couple coming in already, so there's a limited amount of space for this offer. And also visit realestateradiotampa.com. Let us know what your story is. Let us know how we can help you, and we promise not to put you on a drip campaign or anything like that. William Crawley's just going to take care of you and get you all hooked up there. So, William, thanks for calling in. We appreciate those nuggets of advice, my friend.
No problem, buddy.
Take care. All right, let's jump back into this great content here. We got Dave Turner, Achieva Credit Union in studio. We've got Mr. Sean Yesner, YesnerLaw.com. Let's go ahead and have Sean chime in here. YesnerLaw.com, real estate law, bankruptcy law. What are you seeing out there, man?
Yeah, so, the Supreme Court's been pretty busy lately. There's been a couple of big decisions that have come out of D.C., but one thing that may have slipped the radar of the mainstream media but was really relevant in my world, the Bankruptcy Court made a huge decision in connection, or the Supreme Court made a huge decision in terms of bankruptcy law. So here in Florida, about 3 years ago, there was a decision out of Atlanta, which governs us here in Florida at that court level. And Atlanta said that we could remove second mortgages in Chapter 7 bankruptcies, which are liquidation bankruptcies.
Right.
We can always do it in Chapter 13 in the payment plan bankruptcies. We can still do it in Chapter 13 in the payment plan bankruptcies. And what a strip-off means is we're not only removing the debt, but we're also removing the lien itself.
From the asset.
So when that bankruptcy is over, that second mortgage no longer exists. The debt, the lien, everything is gone. About 3 years ago, Atlanta said we could do that in Chapter 7 cases. Unfortunately, that conflicted with what other district courts around the country were saying, so it went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overturned Atlanta. So we had about a 3-year window where we could get rid of second mortgages in Chapter 7 cases.
Yeah.
The ability to do that is now gone. So we can only now do that in Chapter 13 cases.
So that's a big win for the banking lobby and a loss for the consumers.
Yeah, a loss for the consumers. Now, it had to be a house that was wholly underwater. The first mortgage had to create an underwater situation. So if you had a house that was worth $100,000, the first mortgage had to be $100,000 plus.
Yeah.
If the first mortgage was $90,000, then we can't affect the second mortgage.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of a loss to the consumers, but we'll find another way to skin that cat.
Yeah, it's all about calling an audible. Your financial plan. A lot of people put more time in their fantasy football picks or vacation plans than they do their financial plan, and that's what this show is developed for. We developed the show 2 years ago as a consumer advocate platform. We're helping people out there, sort through a lot of the nonsense, avoid that commission-based advice, kind of giving that helicopter view of the marketplace. And Attorney Sean Yesner is one of the best in the area in terms of bankruptcy law. And we're going to hear more as we come back here from break. And we're also going to touch on these 2.2 million boomerang home buyers that will re-enter the market in the next 5 years. That's going to be an interesting conversation as well. We'll have Dave weigh in as well on that from Achieva Credit Union. And, of course, the wolf of Jason is going to talk a little bit about that as well. So, a lot of great information. We want you to huddle up, call an audible, and get your game plan together. Quarterback these planned transactions for you, help you live a better life. Ultimately, that's the goal of this show. So you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Shouts out to the Maids Cleaning Service, top-notch cleaning service here based in the Tampa Bay market. Come in and do a great job on my properties. 4 personnel come in and out. Back to what you're doing. And also Harper's Carpet Cleaning. Harper's Carpet Cleaning, tile and grout carpet, the best in the Tampa Bay market. So let's jump back into this great content. And we got a couple of hot listing here as well. I got one on Gulf Winds Drive in St. Petersburg. Now, again, if you're a developer out there or know someone who is, we want you to have them reach out to us. We got a great opportunity here. This is for 12 townhomes, an opportunity to, there's existing single families, but this property has been zoned and approved for 12 townhomes. Great opportunity to develop, and it's literally a 2-minute walk to Corey Avenue where they have all those cool festivals right on Corey Avenue. Also have 636 Corey Avenue, a hotel there. Great opportunity to get into the real estate game while the mortgage rates are still low. We're going to touch on that later in the show, some of the effects of Greece, things happening on a geopolitical scale in the news, and how we can help position you to win. Also have 9154 Yellow Lake Drive in Newport Richey. This is actually a winner of, the home is a national award winner in the world of masonry. It's a very well built structural brick home, and some of the work this gentleman did is a great opportunity. The owner built the property, and it's gorgeous. It's $725,000, 4 bedrooms, 3 1/2 bath, and it's in Newport Richey at 9154 Yellow Lake Drive. And also 27730 Sugarloaf Drive in Wesley Chapel, another 3-bedroom, 2-bath property. Great starter home, entry-level type home for a nice young family here. It's a traditional sale, not a short sale. A lot of that short sale inventory is kind of dried up as our market's normalized here in the Tampa Bay market. So you're listening to a Real Estate Quarterback Show. We've got an all-star lineup here. I've got Mr. Dave Turner, Achieva Credit Union. Got Sean Yesner, he's our financial solutions attorney, and Jason Salmon, co-host and VP of marketing for Crushcraft as well, and an expert buyer agent. So, Jason, let's go ahead and jump into those questions, and let's see what the Ask the REQB session has yielded this week.
Yes, we're back with another edition of Ask the Real Estate Quarterback, brought to you by Platinum MVP Realty and Crushcraft Marketing. And our first question is going to come from Tina via Facebook, and Tina wanted to know, if I'm a buyer and I'm out there looking for a home, where are the best deals that I can find?
Okay, yeah, I'll take that one, and maybe Sean can elaborate a little bit afterwards because he's seeing some stuff, I'm sure, on the bankruptcy side and dispositioning those assets, as they call in the space. But yeah, they've got multiple categories. You've got REO category, which is bank owned, where they went through a foreclosure process. The bank owns them. You're going to deal with the banks and some of the hangups that they have and some of their bureaucracies there. Also, if you team up with a great agency like ours, Platinum MVP Realty, a lot of times we have these off-market properties, what we call pocket listings, properties where the owner said, hey, I'm not ready to throw it on MLS yet. By the way, I've got one in Baycrest right now. I'm glad we talked about this. I've got a pocket listing. Won't be hitting the MLS until next week, but it's right there at Hillsborough Sheldon Memorial. Right there in Baycrest, beautiful property. It's right at $200,000 price point, and owner put a lot of new work into it, so he's ready to hit the market with that one. But pocket listings, those types of things, that would you agree with, Jay, or something along those lines?
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely where the opportunity is. I think something you touched on earlier about how short sales have kind of thinned out in the market, and I think that's definitely true. And we'll even see that in foreclosures, as that has really declined as well. So it's important to kind of look for some special avenues to find some deals out there. Yep. And today, actually, we have a second question, and our second question actually comes from Sarah via email. And Sarah wanted to know, and this will be right up your alley, Sean, if I'm drowning in credit card debt, but I still have assets, what's my best plan moving forward? Bankruptcy, sell the assets? I just need some guidance.
Yeah, it depends a lot on what the assets are, because a lot of assets in Florida are still exempt. So if she's talking about a homestead with a lot of equity, well, Florida law protects that. If she's talking about an IRA, a 401k, some other type of retirement account, again, Florida law protects that. If it's assets that are not exempt, then Chapter 7 is probably a bad option, because the trustee will then take all of those assets, turn them into cash, and pay that cash to the creditors. Chapter 13 might work. So we take the value of the assets and we pay that out to the creditors over a 60-month, 5-year bankruptcy plan. And so that it's at 0% interest, and we can reduce those payments really low and still pay out a percentage of what's owed to the creditors. We still can just negotiate. Call the creditors. I don't mind bluffing. So I'll call the creditors and I'll negotiate with them, and I'll try to get them paid off at some percentage on the dollar. And if it requires monopolizing or cannibalizing one or two of those assets to save the rest, that may be a good strategy as well. But we always have a couple of different options that we can use to help people out that find themselves with a lot of assets,
Sure.
but also a lot of debt.
Exactly. I think that's important to know that you do have options out there. That it's not this one straightforward thing. That's all you can do. And our third question today actually comes. It comes from. Sandra. Sorry, Sarah and Sandra were pretty close there. And Sandra wanted to know, and this would be right up your alley, David. I'm thinking about switching to a credit union. How does insurance work? How is your money insured in comparison to, say, a standard traditional bank?
That's a great question because everybody knows the banks have the FDIC because in the past we've seen the FDIC step in and aid those banks that weren't able to keep afloat. Credit unions have the same backing. It's just called the NCUA. Same limits. You've got a $250,000 guarantee on your funds that are held within the credit union. And I've actually had to answer this question quite a few times lately because actually on the
Greece stuff.
Yeah, and on as well as the Greece stuff and things that are happening, Puerto Rico, all those types of things happening right now, I get those questions as well as we just threw out new CD rates at 1.25% for 15 months and 1.75% for 30 months. So we've got an influx of people who've never been to a credit union seeing this higher rate than the market usually has for CDs right now, coming in and asking this question, well, if I bring my money, am I secure? And you are secure just as if you were at the bank.
Yeah, it's unprecedented times we're seeing over there in Greece and a lot of the world happenings, geopolitical things, the people going to the ATMs trying to pull out their euros. They're capped at like 60, 70 euros a day. And, and the thing is, too, it kind of talks about a socialist type mentality. Greece, they're a socialist type economy, and that's what happens. Eventually, you run out of other people's money, and, they're not taking austerity measures. So there's a lot happening out there in the world, and there's a lot of geopolitical things happening, but there's that economy out there, and then there's the economy between your own ears, and that's what we want to do is create some urgency here for you as a listener to the show. So you hear Dave Turner talking about Achieve a Credit Union, some of the things you can do. We've got Sean Yesner, YesnerLaw.com in studio as well. So if you want to reach out, again, it's realestateradiotampa.com. Submit the form. My promise is to get back to you before my head hits the pillow. So any of these concerns that you might have, and don't forget, we've got estate planning partners, taxation experts, all of those financial business and financial related. We've got the all-star team here, real estate and finance team that can help you win in any marketplace. That's the goal of our show. And again,
the only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
So, Jay, what else you seeing out there, man?
Actually, one of the crazy news things, I think has kind of been skipped over a little bit because of all the Greece stuff is Puerto Rico is in some serious trouble as well right now.
Yeah.
That as being a principality of the United States, not, a state, but a principality.
Sure.
I think that could definitely affect, the economy in the United States with that huge looming debt that they really have no ability to pay back.
Well, there's been some interesting things on that, too, in my world in terms of Puerto Rico can't declare bankruptcy. They're not a state. They're not covered by the bankruptcy laws.
So they're missed out on that part.
There's been some talk about that, and is Congress going to maybe try to bail them out, and what's going to happen with some of that debt that they have going on down there?
Wow. My opinion first off would be like, no, let's focus on our own borders. I mean, we already see what's happening, and that's kind of the immigration debate is the deal that happened in San Francisco. The gentleman, I believe, was from south of the border. So we're not a political show here, but we want to opinionate from time to time. And there's a lot of issues happening out there. You got Cuba opened up.
Yeah, Cuba's opened up. Maybe go down and have some cigars and sandwiches.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually think a cruise ship just got a contract actually now.
Right.
I think it's Carnival just got the contract to be the first vacation cruise line to be able to go now back and forth to Cuba. So that's kind of interesting to see that market open up as a vacation spot.
Yeah, it is, and hey, I think it's a good move in terms of let's be friends with that ally that's 90 miles from our coast. Let's create those relationships there, and hey. But let's jump back into this. Hey, 2.2 million boomerang home buyers will re-enter the market in the next 5 years here. Got a Yahoo Finance article here. Millions of homeowners who had difficulties paying their mortgages after the housing bubble burst are nearing a point in which they could once again qualify for a home loan. According to new analysis from TransUnion, in 2015, 700,000 U.S. consumers will be capable of re-entering the housing market. And within the next 5 years, that population called the boomerang buyers is expected to grow to 2.2 million. So, yeah, it's interesting. We went through this turbulent time, the meltdown. We've all heard about that. And it really kind of pisses me off when I see some of these stories that talk about, not this particular story here, but when you have these other disconnected talking heads, some of these editorial people, they put in the headlines, oh, there's a bubble looming, there's another bubble coming. And the reason why they do that is they get people to click. When people click, advertisers pay dollars. So what happens is I definitely don't think that there's another bubble looming. We've been appreciating at a modest pace. You still have to produce income documentations to get a loan. There's no longer these NINA loans, no income, no assets, stated loan programs, 125% loan to value, all those types of no doc stated programs like we saw. So when I see some of these disconnected talking heads regurgitating these types of opinions, it's causing, I get a lot of questions. We get some questions at realestateradio.tampa.com about that. There's no housing bubble, I don't believe.
No, I mean, we're seeing a lot out there. Just like you said, it's appreciating at a good rate. It's nothing that's extraordinary where people are trying to buy a house and then flip it within the next couple of months because it's appreciating like that.
Right.
You've got to buy the asset and sit on it for a few years before it appreciates
Sure.
enough for you to make a turn like that.
Yep.
Is what we're really seeing. So, and seeing these people coming back into the market to be making the purchase, that's great to see because you want to see those people re-enter the market and have that opportunity.
Yep.
Because they had that bankruptcy or they had that foreclosure that kept them from doing that, and now they have that opportunity.
Yeah, people say to me all the time, well, why should I do a short sale? Why should I choose bankruptcy versus just letting the house go in foreclosure? If nobody can touch me, let me just let it go in foreclosure. Well, this is the answer.
Yeah.
The boomerang buyers are the answer. So if you were in a situation 2, 3, 4 years ago and you had decided to go the short sale route or the bankruptcy route, you're now one of those boomerang buyers that can buy a house in 2015.
Perfect compliment to William Crowley, our credit expert that just called in. You go through the process with Sean, you do your 13 or 7, you reach out to William Crowley, a.k.a. the magician, the credit magician, and we get you back on track. That's what this is for. The United States is a society that's based on forgiveness. That's why we left England and we're over here now, and it's an opportunity. We're a capitalist society, and hopefully we can hang on to that capitalist society and not turn into socialist here. But you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Great intelligent discussion here going on all things, talking about Greece and a lot of the headlines in the news right now, the boomerang buyers. Let's follow up on that conversation about the boomerang buyers because I've got some interesting points as well when you talk about credit repair and coming back into the market. Great time to refinance and reposition your assets. You're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradio.tampa.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Real Estate Quarterback Show. Top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, Platinum MVP Realty, Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate platform. And our goal is to help you win. So let's jump back into this content. We were talking about the 2.2 million boomerang home buyers that are going to be re-entering the marketplace. And, it's a great time to reposition your assets. A lot of experts think, and I agree, that towards the latter part of this year, we're going to see some increasing on the mortgage rates. And it's a conversation that talks about money's going into bonds, and it has an inverse relationship with mortgage rates. But, let's talk about that, Jason. Let's kind of get the information out to the consumers. It's a great time here to reposition. Whether you're a move-up buyer or maybe moving down, want to move closer to the beach, no better time in United States history than to make it happen right now.
Exactly. The rates have never been held, at this low for this long. So I think that's kind of a huge part as well. But one of the things that I want to touch on with the boomerang buyers is, if you're wondering if you're one of those boomerang buyers, I have a few of the criteria that kind of follow up through that line. So to be considered to re-enter the home ownership market, you need to make sure that you don't have any unpaid judgments, garnishments, or past due accounts, and that you have a FICO score of at least 620. And so if you're wondering about that, or you're wondering about your credit score, make sure you reach out to William Crowley. He's our expert contributor on the credit side. He'll really help you bring that up.
Yeah, and at realestateradiotampa.com, you can see all of the links to all of our preferred partners there. You could click on their show card under expert contributors. And Sean, let's bring up those points as well that we were talking about between the break here regarding what you're seeing with the banks coming back now.
Yeah. We talk about, you said there's no bubble, and I agree. I don't think there's a bubble on the horizon, but I think there's a wave coming.
Yeah.
What we're starting to see on the short sales that are left, especially a lot of the Fannie Mae short sales. The last 4 short sales we negotiated that were Fannie Mae short sales, Fannie Mae has asked for money. In addition to the short sale closing, they've asked for some upfront small payment, relatively small payment, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, and then some monthly payment on a promissory note. Now, that promissory note's been 0% interest. So the last one that I just negotiated, I think they wanted like $6,500 up front, $20,000 over 10 years at 0% interest, which would be $170 a month. So we at least have Fannie Mae stepping back into the game, saying, we're not going to really take these hardships anymore. We're going to want you to pay back some of that money. The other thing that I'm seeing are the short sale lenders, especially the second mortgages that got just hosed. They had a $50,000, $60,000 debt, and they took $4,000 to $5,000 at the short sale. Some of them are now starting to get back into the marketplace and saying, well, now that things have recovered, we want some of that money.
Too bad they're not chasing the Goldman Sachs CEOs and the BOAs, those guys that got the golden parachute. I'm a straight shooter here, and I see it. I watched the movie Inside Job. If you haven't seen that, you definitely got to check out that movie Inside Job. And I think I got a clip here from Tony Robbins talking about it.
What triggered me is I saw this documentary called Inside Job.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Great.
Yeah, Matt Damon did the audio on it, and it won all kinds of awards. But what's happened, if you didn't see it, I really recommend you see it, but I do want to prepare you. At the end, you're either extremely pissed off or you're really depressed, depending upon your personality. And I was pissed off because they show how a small number of people basically put the entire economic world at risk. And when they put us near imploding, the punishment for that was to reward them by putting them in charge of the recovery, printing more money, and then taxing everybody else on earth and giving their money back. It's the greatest thievery that's happened in human history.
The greatest thievery in human history. And that's Tony Robbins, one of my mentors. I've been to his business mastery course in Namale, Fiji, and he's just telling it like it is. He's not a political party on this side or that side. He's pretty much neutral. He's telling it how it is. So when I see these banks coming back years later, even though it's 2015 and that was 08, that poor struggling homeowner, you can talk about jobs too. You got a lot more part-time jobs now with the different types of healthcare. You've got all these different things. The wages aren't what they once were. So we're not only hurting them there, we're also going to go back and hit them where it hurts and say, hey, if you want to do this short sale, you got to pay me some money up front.
Right, we're replacing jobs, but we're not replacing salary.
Exactly.
So it's not keeping up. The thing to remember, though, is you touched on it, Brandon. There is now in Florida a 1-year statute of limitations. So if someone has lost their house in a foreclosure and the bank is coming after them more than 1 year down the road, that's something that we can then turn around, countersue the bank for violating debt collection law, not only make that debt go away, but also get the borrower some money in their pocket, because after 1 year, Florida law says banks can't pursue that money anymore.
Yeah, and I remember I played that clip last time. We had Michael Lisenko, our Safe Money coach, on the show talking about investment opportunities and some of the policies that he offers. And shouts out to Michael Lisenko again, a Safe Money coach here. He's on our website as well. But another aspect is that pensions have kind of slowly dissipated from the workforce, and so as Americans, we have, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we actually went into a negative savings versus typically back in probably the 80s and 90s, we had about a 10% savings rate. We'd have some money put back, and it's a tough situation for homeowners out there. But let's enter the lightning round. Let's positive this conversation up here. All right, top consumer advocate tips, things to do, things to avoid. Mr. Dave Turner, you are up. Consumer advocate tip, things to do, things to avoid.
One of the things that I had mentioned earlier with the auto financing part of it, the thing that I would mention with there is always come see your financer first. Yep. So go to the institution where you do your banking, the credit union, wherever it is. We prefer it's us.
Yep.
Come and see us first and let us go through what the process is going to look like for you, so you know what your interest rate is, what your credit score is, what you can really afford, and not get hustled into a quick sale at the dealership on a car that you fell in love with when you went there, and you're going to pay the extra amount just to have it, not knowing how that's really going to affect your pocketbook.
Yep.
Because when you get into those types of situations, then you might end up being a client of Sean's as well.
Yeah, and shop those big decisions. Buying a car these days, the internet, shop those big decisions. I tell you, in real estate, it's very competitive. And when I'm going on listing appointments, they're flat out telling me, hey, I'm meeting with 3 or 4 or 5 other agents, and I've got to be the best I can be. I've got to be sharp. So if you're buying a car, you're looking to buy a house, shop around. Take a look at other agents and make sure you're getting the best deal. Don't just jump on the first thing because you got a time crunch. Sean Yesner.
Yeah, I bought my car about 6 years ago, and I financed it through Achieva, and it was fantastic. They took fantastic care of me. So
very cool.
For my tip, don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Exactly.
When we're talking about bankruptcy, we call it a 3-finger code. What that means is you look up the section that you're interested in. That references another section. You got to stick your finger in the book to hold your place. You go to that second section. That references a third section. You got to stick your finger in there. So by the time you're done, you got 3 fingers stuck in that big book to hold all your places.
Yeah.
So it's complicated. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. There are bankruptcy preparation services out there that are cheaper than an attorney, but that's all they're going to do. They're going to prepare the petition. They're going to file it. You're on your own from there.
Right.
So even though an attorney might cost a little bit more, I think all the attorneys here in the Tampa Bay area that do bankruptcies are excellent attorneys.
Yep.
And consult with them, use them. We all give free consultations.
Well, that's cool to say, man. That's cool that you're saying that, and thanks for being a partner of our show. We want you to support our show, realestateradiotampa.com, yesnerlaw.com. Jason, you got a consumer tip?
I do, and my consumer tip today is going to be do your own research. Exactly what Sean said, about looking up online, and don't believe everything you read online. And the same thing, don't believe everything that someone tells you. Do your own research, figure it out for yourself, figure out what the truth is, and then you can make your own decisions. Take some responsibility for your future. Whether it's in banking, and I think you can find a lot of pros for using a credit union as opposed to some of the traditional banks out there. Do your own research, find out the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you got a listing out there, maybe you're expiring or you're exploring that opportunity to list your property for sale, I implore you to sit down with us and sit down with me and let me show you what I'm doing differently. The number one thing you want to ask realtors out there is, hey, I know a lot of the stuff is the same across the board, but what are you doing differently? Hey, we've got radio shows, we got TV show, we got a magazine coming out. We are doing things that other real estate companies are not doing, old school strategies that are just traditional ways. We still do those because those still work. But hey, big announcement. We got a TV show coming out here on broadcast television. We got our live stream show currently on WeBeam TV, and we're getting about 12,000 viewers on that show monthly. And we're going to a broadcast television show as well, and it's going to be on Sundays at 8 p.m. on This TV Tampa Bay. So stay tuned for more developments from that and the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Thanks again for everyone out there listening. Thanks to my contributors in studio and partners. And, of course, Jason, thanks again for the Ask the REQB questions. And same time and place every week. We appreciate you tuning in. RealestateRadioTampa.com.